Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Ruben Selles so impressed by Mikel Arteta. Ruben Selles has heaped praise on Mikel Arteta for the work he has done at Arsenal ahead of Southampton's trip to the Emirates tonight. The Saints' boss comments have been reported by Hampshire Live as the Premier League's bottom side prepare to travel to face the leaders ahead of the weekend. Salas is in his first job in first team management, and he has been handed a huge task trying to keep Southampton in the top flight. Of course, another manager in their first role is Mikel Arteta. Remarkably, the Spaniard is on the cusp of becoming the only boss to win the Premier League title in their first managerial role. It has been an amazing rise for the Gunners. It's easy to forget now, but Arsenal were bottom of the table themselves heading into the first international break of last season. They are now in pole position to win the title, but they will be desperate to get back to winning ways when they face Southampton tonight. Salas was asked about potentially emulating Arteta, given that they are both in their first job in senior football, and he was full of praise for the work the Arsenal boss has done. He said, as reported by Hampshire Live, I think we have a completely different background. He was a great player managed by great coaches, and his career having the opportunity to jump with Pep Guardiola as his first experience and then taking Arsenal in a difficult moment. I think he is doing a really good job with a young squad, building something powerful. Of course, it's always very difficult against these teams, especially with a team that is meant to be in the top. But I think with patience and I would say a very good plan, well done by Mikel, they put themselves in the top as they used to be before. The work Arteta has done will help a lot of coaches, such as Salas. There were plenty of times where it appeared that Arteta was on the brink at Arsenal, but the Gunners committed to supporting what he was trying to do, and they are now reaping the rewards. Their patience has led to huge steps forwards being taken that may inspire other clubs to stick by the managers they really believe in, even in the trickier times. Journalist says he is now worried that Arteta just isn't using Emile Smith Rowe. It's been a difficult season for Emile Smith Rowe as he's barely had a sniff at Arsenal this term after such a successful campaign last time around. Injuries have played their part, but according to Football.London's Tom Canton, the England midfielder is no longer carrying any fitness problems whatsoever. Indeed, speaking on his YouTube channel, Canton said that he is growing increasingly concerned about the Smithrow situation at Arsenal, as he's barely getting any minutes despite the fact he's been told that the youngster is fully fit. Canton shared what he knows about the incredible Arsenal player. He said, do you have concerns that he is not being used as a substitute? Yes, that is a concern that I have. I think that Smithrow, as far as I am aware, and as I have been saying, my understanding is that he is fully fit. There is no issues with his fitness. Why he is not being used, I really don't know. Canton says that he is concerned about Smith-Rowe's situation, and he is probably right to be. The Englishman has quite clearly slipped down the pecking order at Arsenal. Gabriel Martinelli has overtaken him on the left side, while the arrival of Leandro Trossard in January has also complicated things. Of course, Smithrow can also play as a more central number 10, but the presence of Martin Odegaard and the £34 million Fabio Vieira also means that competition is rife in that spot too. The sad reality is that Smithrow is third choice in his two favorite positions right now, and perhaps he could do with a move away from the Emirates this summer to continue his development. A lot of interest in Arsenal star William Saliba. There remains a lot of interest in Arsenal centre-back William Saliba after his outstanding form this season. According to CaughtOffside columnist Jonathan Johnson, Saliba has long been rated very highly, but really stepped up a level with his performances on loan at Marseille last season, which proved key to him returning to the Emirates Stadium and becoming an automatic starter for the Gunners. The France international was wanted by a number of top sides before Arsenal initially signed him, And Johnson says there is still a great deal of admiration for him around Europe after his form this term. Johnson said, a lot of clubs wanted him before he went to Arsenal as well. Clubs are well aware of the talent coming through at Saint-Etienne, like Wesley Fofana, who is now at Chelsea, and previously Kurt Zouma a few years before that. There were a handful of top European clubs who were interested in him at that time. PSG were one of those, but Arsenal ended up winning that race for his signature. To this day, he still attracts a lot of interest from across Europe because he is an elite defensive talent. Arsenal fans won't be too pleased to hear that, but at the same time, there is surely an exciting enough project happening under Mikel Arteta to persuade the 22-year-old to stay in North London for the long term. Saliba's injury has been a really blow to Arsenal towards the end of the season, and Johnson admits they really need him back as soon as possible. He said, they are facing a key run of games now, and they look like they need him back, though, of course, rushing him to return to the team has its own risk in terms of long term damage, so they will need to manage the situation carefully. If they can get him back, he will be a very important player towards the end of the season and next season as well, when they are most likely back in the Champions League. They will also, no doubt, be working hard to tie him down to a new contract soon to ensure he is one of the cornerstones of this team for many years to come. Mikel Arteta speaks out on Ainsley Maitland-Niles' Arsenal future. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta has spoken out on the future of Ainsley Maitland-Niles. The footballer is currently on loan at Southampton. The loan move hasn't gone as planned as the Englishman sees himself embroiled in a relegation battle. The Saints look likely to be relegated as they currently sit bottom of the Premier League table. No doubt it has been a struggle, but the 25-year-old has shown glimpses of his quality and that he can still succeed in the division. His loan at Southampton expires at the end of the season, but this is also when his contract expires at Arsenal, so his future is uncertain. The player will want to keep his place at the Gunners. He has to prove himself whilst at Saints until the end of the season. Arteta has exceeded expectations by making Arsenal title challenges. It will be even harder to get a place in his squad due to this. Speaking via the Arsenal media team, Mikel Arteta discussed the future of Maitland-Niles. He said, he was a really important part, and he is a player with incredible versatility that has played in many different positions for different reasons, some professional, some personal reasons. He had to move around in the end. At the end of the season, we will sit down and decide what is the best thing for everybody moving forward. Maitland-Niles can play on the wing, in midfield, or as a fullback. Arteta highlights his versatility in his comment, and this could be the key to the player getting a new contract at Arsenal. He may not play as much as he would like, but he would no doubt love to be in the squad. Nathan Ake picked up an injury just before Arsenal clash. Manchester City star Nathan Ake says he's picked up a hamstring injury ahead of the crunch clash against Arsenal next week. City are set to host the Gunners at the Etihad Stadium next Wednesday in what looks to be a title-defining game. Mikel Arteta's men have slipped up in their last two games as they have surrendered two goal leads to both Liverpool and West Ham. Arsenal's dip in form has allowed City to close the gap at the top of the table to just 4 points, with Pep Guardiola's men also having a game in hand over the North Londoners. The Gunners will have a chance to extend their lead to 7 points as they face Southampton at the Emirates tonight, with City set to play Sheffield United in the FA Cup semi-final. But Guardiola will also have the Champions League at the top of his priority list, and Nathan Ake has seemingly picked up an injury while playing in the competition. City overcame Bayern München by a 4-1 scoreline on an aggregate as they drew at the Allianz Arena. Ake was forced off during the game, and he confirmed to Sky Sports reporter Ben Ransom that it was due to a hamstring injury. The City star said, I have had it before and it feels a little less, to be honest, but you never know. So we will do the ultrasounds and stuff, and then hopefully it's not too bad. Ake has been ever present in City's side this season, and they have really hit form since he moved out to left back. The £40 million man has provided a solid base on the left hand side, which has allowed Guardiola to bring the likes of Ruben Diaz back into the side. Of course, Ake is an accomplished defender, and it would be a huge blow for City if he misses the game against Arsenal next week. The Gunners' biggest threat is arguably Bukayo Saka, and City are short of options at left back after Joao Cancelo's departure. Arsenal, now being kept informed after Bayern star Nusayr Mazraoui says he is unhappy. Arsenal have been alerted to the availability of Nusayr Mazraoui after he vented his frustration over his lack of game time at Bayern München. That is according to a report from 90 Minute, who report that a host of Premier League sides will be kept informed of development concerning the Moroccan ahead of the summer. Nusayr Mazraoui only joined Bayern last summer after a successful spell at Ajax, but he has struggled with the Bavarian Giants, only making 10 starts this season. As reported by 90 Minute, he expressed his dissatisfaction over how little he has played this season, and it seems that his representatives are working on potential exit routes for the fullback this summer. According to 90 Minute, Arsenal, Newcastle, Manchester United, Crystal Palace, West Ham, and Wolverhampton are amongst those being kept in the loop ahead of the transfer window. Arsenal's interest in Mazraoui would not be new. It was reported last March that the Gunners were eyeing a potential deal as his contract with Ajax ran into its final few months. Of course, Ben White has been the player who has predominantly been deployed at right back this season, and he has been a revelation in that role. However, depth is an issue as they edge closer to a Champions League return. Takahiro Tomiyasu has unfortunately struggled with injury and will miss the rest of the campaign. The 25-year-old would be an outstanding signing if the Gunners could add him to their ranks. Julian Nagelsmann has previously labeled him terrific, and he showed just how much quality he had during his time with Ajax. If Bayern make him available at the end of the season, Arsenal should absolutely put themselves in the mix. Moses Caicedo opens up on failed Arsenal transfer in January. Moses Caicedo has finally broken his silence about his failed transfer to Arsenal in January this year. The Gunners really needed reinforcement in the middle of the park. They were flying in the Premier League, and following the arrival of Leandro Trossard, many felt a top-quality midfielder would give them the push they need to win the title. Caicedo was the man Mikel Arteta wanted, but a move did not materialize. Arsenal really wanted Caicedo in the January transfer window. The Gunners first lodged a £55 million bid to convince Brighton to let him go, but that was rejected. They then upped their offer to £60 million, but that was turned down too. Caicedo tried to force a move to Arsenal as well. He put up a post on Instagram begging the Siglos to let him go and fulfill his dream of playing for a top club. Brighton refused, and the Ecuador international stayed put. He has now had his say. He told the Telegraph, "I was really close to going to Arsenal. I'd seen a lot of Arsenal before knowing that there was a possibility of me signing for them. I watched them and I liked them because they have very young, talented players and some stars, but they always have that mindset of wanting more." When asked by the Telegraph if he'd like to see Arsenal win the league, Caicedo said, "Of course, I hope so, but let's see." Caicedo would have been brilliant at Arsenal. The 21-year-old has been sensational for Brighton since he joined them. He has all the qualities to be a top midfielder in the coming years, and under a manager like Arteta, he will surely develop. Arsenal failed to bring him in 3 months ago, but the summer transfer window is not too far away. There is a good chance Caicedo will leave Brighton before the start of next season, and we are sure Arsenal will keep a close eye on the situation. It will be interesting to see what will happen with Caicedo this summer. If Arsenal can get him, they should. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news show, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.